I'm Sarah Dawkins from Sarah Dawkins Essential Health. On the 7th of January 2023, we hosted the Heal Yourself online summit, where 15 experts in self-healing kindly gave up their time to impart their wisdom to audiences watching live on Facebook, Twitter and LinkedIn. We've taken all of these live videos and made them available to you here, free on YouTube, for everyone to benefit. I hope you enjoy this and find it helpful. If you want to watch the rest of the speakers, you can do so here. Please don't forget to like and comment on this video and subscribe to my channel. If you want to find out more about myself, my journey and the journey of others through self-healing, you can visit my website at www.sdessentialhealth.com, and you can find my book Heal Yourself on Amazon. Links are in the description below. Thank you for your time.
Welcome to the first ever Heal Yourself online summit, coming to you live today and streaming over Facebook, LinkedIn and Twitter. I'm your host, Sarah Dawkins. I was previously a registered nurse for 20 years and I'm also an author of the book Heal Yourself, and I'm also a holistic health coach. Before I move on, I just want to remind everybody, if you haven't pre-registered for this summit, please go to my website, sarahdawkins.com, because in pre-registering, your name will go forwards into a grand prize draw, of which all the coaches today have donated a wonderful prize. And you will also gain discount on the All Access Video Pass and my own course, Heal Yourself at Home. So, why are we here today? Why me? Why now? Well, as Joe Dispenza says, if we've got a limiting belief, the way we can change that is by seeing one person doing what we think is impossible. So we then think something is possible. And most of us today have been brought up in the medical model, and we're told it's not possible to heal conditions. And we're trained that when we're sick, we go to the doctor gives us a diagnosis, usually a prescription, and some pharmaceutical tablets. We go home, we take those tablets, and we are healed, is what we're led to believe. But with that diagnosis comes a program. And with that program comes a set of beliefs. And the tests back in the 1950s and 60s done by Ash and Milgram showed that when people in authority ask people to do something, the people tend to follow the orders and do what's expected of them. So because that doctor's in a position of authority, we tend to follow their instructions, and we take on board that diagnosis, and we take on board the program that comes with that diagnosis. And quite often the doctor will say, you can expect these symptoms and this disease progression, and you'll heal with the tablets, or it's not healable and the tablets will alleviate your symptoms. But that's what the pharmaceuticals are doing. They're just alleviating our symptoms. So what if we can step outside of that model and start looking at what we can do to help ourselves to heal? Why me today? Well, because I was a nurse and I was fully bought into that medical model, and I was raised by a nurse in that medical model. And it took somebody to plant a seed of what's really going on? Have you looked at how your body can support yourself? For me to start researching and thinking, well, why have they said that? And I went on to heal a multitude of health problems. The first problem I healed was psoriasis. I had two big red ugly patches on my legs and used all the creams, the steroid creams, because that's what the doctor gave me. And the psoriasis came and it went. And one summer, because I lived on the south coast in England, I decided I'm not going to use the cream anymore. I'm just going to wear shorts, show these big ugly red patches of psoriasis, and just walk about in the sunshine and the sea air. And you know, at the end of the summer, that psoriasis had totally gone. I'd healed it. But at that time, I didn't realise the power of my mind, of my beliefs, and how that was affecting me. I just thought, I've healed it, great, and move on. I then went on to develop a frozen shoulder. So I looked outside the medical model. What else can I do? What other options do I have? So I rang a chiropractor. Now, the medical model would give me pharmaceutical painkillers for the shoulder, and if it didn't heal of its own accord over a period of months, there is a surgical intervention, taken into hospital, put to sleep, and that shoulder is manipulated under anaesthetic to get it moving again. I went to the chiropractor, he manipulated my shoulder, used acupuncture, and within about 4 or 5 weeks, that shoulder had healed. I went on and developed another frozen shoulder on the other side. So, I went back to the chiropractor and healed that again. I then went on to develop an underactive thyroid, and I burned out my adrenal glands because I was quite stressed out at the time. And my hair was thin and falling out. My skin was dry. I was tired all the time. I had brain fog. And I had eczema all over my body again. Not psoriasis this time, but eczema. And acid reflux as well. So I started looking into what I could do for the acid reflux and the eczema. And during my research, I found that stress exacerbates it, and so does dairy. Dairy and gluten are known inflammatories. So I cut out all gluten and all dairy, and I de-stressed. And over a period of time, the eczema healed, as did the acid reflux. So no more pharmaceuticals, because I've been used to taking pharmaceuticals for both. So I'd stopped that. And then the underactive thyroid and my adrenal glands, my blood pressure went from 120/70, which is textbook blood pressure, to 80/40, which is very, very low. And I craved salt all the time. So doing a bit more research, I started cleaning up my diet. I started eating more healthy. I stopped using off-the-shelf soaps and conditioners and shampoos. I looked at my beauty products. I looked at my cleaning products, and I found quite a lot of them were toxic. So I started making my own from recipes off the internet, which was very easy to follow. And in doing so, my skin got less dry and my thyroid was starting to heal. But then something happened in my life, and I spiraled into a deep, dark depression, and I actually became suicidal. And I went to the doctors because of the suicidal thoughts, and he obviously diagnosed depression and said, I want to put you on antidepressants. I said, well, I've done antidepressants when my son was born, and I didn't like how they made me feel. They took away all my emotions, and I felt like a zombie. So I walked out of his office saying, thank you very much, but no thank you. I have no idea what I'm going to do to heal, but I know I'm not going to take pharmaceuticals. I had a very wonderful friend. I still have the same friend, and she took me to the gym twice a week on a Wednesday to do 2 back-to-back classes, so I was exercising. And we had dogs, so I had to go outside with the dogs twice a day to walk them. Now, bear in mind, my mind wasn't in a great place. I kept my head down, didn't want to make eye contact with anybody, and walk the dogs. And over a period of time, I don't really know how long that was, I started feeling a bit lighter, and my days weren't quite so dark. And then on one walk, I remember it really profoundly because there was buds and leaves on the trees. There was flowers on the floor. on the ground. The spring flowers were out, and I could hear the stream alongside the path that I walked on. And looking back now, I see that I was being mindful, but at the time I had no idea what it was. So I started spending more time when I was outside, looking for things actively, coming outside of myself and looking at the environment and taking it all in. And then I started practicing gratitude for the little things. I'm so pleased that I actually didn't take my life. And I'm thankful I can see a small piece of blue sky because it was in England and it was very grey. And thank you for the flowers. And as I started progressing and feeling better, I wondered what else I could do. So I thought I'd meditate. So I tried the meditation. I sat on the sofa in the quiet. I closed my eyes, tried to be at one and at peace. But, I had this little voice on my shoulder going, "You're not worthy. Who do you think you are?" So clearly that wasn't going to work for me. So I looked on the internet, what options are there for meditation? What is it even all about other than sitting trying to quieten your mind? And I found YouTube, and I found lots of guided meditations. So initially I just chose like 5 minutes just to find peace within myself because I couldn't sit for very long. And of somebody's voice that I liked. And I sat and I just listened to the meditation, made the pictures that I was asked to make, and started to feel better again. So I'm thinking, well, hey, I'm onto something because I'm healing, I'm feeling better. And previously when I look back, I've healed acid reflux, eczema, psoriasis, and I was in the process of healing my thyroid and my adrenal glands. So I thought I'll write a book because I've got, I'll be able to help people to understand how to look at self-healing and support our bodies rather than taking the pharmaceuticals. So I sat down at my computer and I banged out 10,000 words. This is it. Yes, this is going to help everybody. And then I hit a brick wall. I thought, what can I do now? How is this going to help people? And that little voice went, it's not really good enough. So I put it away on my computer. And it actually stayed there for 5 years. But in the meantime, my husband said to me, because I wasn't overly happy at work, I didn't feel that I was really helping people to heal themselves as a nurse. We were just stopping their symptoms. So he said, why didn't you set up a business? Wow, that was really stepping out my comfort zone. But I thought, why not? What have I got to lose? So I went to university. I did some classes in business through the graduate entrepreneurship program. And at the end of those classes, the teacher said, could I, along with a few others, showcase my business? I was still a nurse at this point. I was doing some work in other hospitals. I was doing some training of healthcare staff. I was doing some DNA work, some medical legal work. So I still needed my registration, although I wasn't in the hospital full time. So I had to learn PowerPoint and I showcased my business, not expecting anything because I was listening to all these other fabulous businesses that had been set up. Anyway, long story short, I won a prize. So as a local entrepreneur in the area. And after that, one of the lecturers said, I'd like you to enter the national competition for Freelancers Day. Wow, that was really pushing my boundaries a bit more. But, I'm healing. I'm starting to feel better. I know that my comfort zone had shrank to nothing. So the only way to make it larger is to step out of it. So I applied and I got a letter a couple of months later saying, you're one of the top 15 being picked and nominated to win the Freelancers Day down in London. Could I go to London? Of course I can go to London. Didn't expect anything. And I came second in that contest for National Freelancers Day. And I'd actually meditated on this after I'd started meditating on finding some peace and being happy. And then my husband said about starting the business. So I'm like, well, I don't just want to be a business owner. I want to be a successful business owner and win awards. And here I was. I'd won a local award and a national award. So now I'm thinking, well, I've got my book, it's on hold. I'm feeling a lot better. So I'm going to write a course to go alongside my book called Heal Yourself at Home, and dissect my own healing and put them into modules, everything of its own accord. So I started writing my course. But again, this little voice said, well, I don't think it's good enough, Sarah. What do you think you're doing? So I put that to one side, and that sat with my book on my computer. And I kept on in my business thinking, well, where am I going now? Because I'm enjoying my working life more, but I don't feel that I'm getting to the people that I want to help to heal. So I read somewhere on the internet about being a coach. So I applied to a coaching program. And when I was doing that coaching, one of the teachers in it was a very spiritual lady. She took us on a meditation, and we went into our body during this meditation, using our body wisdom. And our body wisdom took us and found our trauma that we'd held inside for so long. And most people, like everybody else, tend to have buried those traumas deep, deep down and put a lid on them and sealed them off. And we have vague memories that they're there. Sometimes we don't even remember that they're there. Anyway, we found this memory during this meditation. We had a conversation with the people involved. We understood what had gone on, because our subconscious mind knows everything. It never switches off. So we had this conversation. We understood the situation. I was able to forgive the people involved in that situation and let go. And as I came out of that meditation, I felt like a weight had lifted off my shoulders. And I realised that when we think of healing, we think of the physical stuff, eating more kale or eating more vegetables, drinking more water. We think of the mental sometimes, doing mindfulness and gratitude and meditation. Sometimes we think about the spiritual healing, about connecting back to ourselves or to a higher power, or whatever that looks like for anybody. It doesn't matter. We're all individual. It's about a connection with something higher, more powerful than just us in this physical form. But what a lot of healers and people don't even, and I didn't know, was that we need to deal with the emotional stuff. That stuff that happened in our past needs to be dealt with. And we don't always have to revisit it and have conversations around it, but there are ways and means to look at that. And for me, that was the final piece in the jigsaw, that physical, mental, spiritual and emotional healing. We need to look at all those aspects of healing to be able to heal ourselves truly. And that's when I got my book back out and my course back out. And I went on social media and asked, has anybody healed themselves? I'm looking for people who've healed things that doctors said we can't heal, things that they say are chronic, lifelong and life-threatening. And 74 people came back to me and said they've got all these problems like multiple sclerosis and autoimmune and ALS, or as we call motor neuron in the UK, cancer, lupus, Lyme, so many different things, allergies, asthma, eczema, sensitivities. All these people came wanting, like myself, to share with the world that we can heal ourselves, even when the doctors say we can't. So that's how my book was born, Heal Yourself. Myself and 74 others shared our healing journeys, how we healed, what we did to heal, to help people to understand. Like as Joe Dispenza says, you only have to see one person doing what you think is impossible to be able to change that limiting belief that actually is possible. And my course also was born out of that, because the emotional healing was the final piece of it, looking at where our beliefs come from and what underpins them. And like myself, being able to change those beliefs, because they're not set in stone. So I was raised in the medical model, and I was brought up to believe the doctor knows best and they will give you a diagnosis and prescriptions. And actually, it's been many, many years now since I've been to a doctor, because I believe that my body can heal itself. When we get a cut or a bruise, we don't think, how am I going to heal that? We let our body heal it. We support our body to heal that. So why not with anything else? Because at the end of the day, they're all symptoms, and the symptoms are literally our body speaking to us. So it's about understanding that message. What is my body saying to me? What do I need to look at to heal myself? So that's me and my background. And today we have got 15 coaches who are all coming to share their own healing and wisdom with you on some of the many different aspects and facets of natural self-healing. And all of these coaches have very kindly written a module to go into my course to back up my own work, because it's their specialty. They've healed, they fully understand these aspects of this module. So they've very kindly donated that. And not only that, the coaches are donating a prize into our grand prize draw. So there will be some lucky winners at the end of this summit who will win those prizes. And they are a whole range of fabulous prizes. And as Charlotte Gerson from the Gerson Institute says, you can't heal two diseases and keep one. When you heal, your body just heals. There is no heal something but leave something else. Your body heals when you support it.